You did 445.
Wow. Jesus, baby.
445 is no joke.
What is up, guys? Today I'm going to react to a video that has been requested multiple times by my subscribers, the David Blaine breathing method. If you're not familiar with David Blaine, he is an escape artist, an illusionist. He likes to put on a show, and today is all about breath holding, a method that he says he invented and that makes him and his clients, the people he's teaching, hold their breath longer. If you're new to this channel, my name is Gert Leroy, helping you master freediving. So let's start by watching a video teaching Casey Neistat how to hold his breath longer. And Casey Neistat is a famous YouTube vlogger. So David Blaine is teaching Casey Neistat and some other people his breathing method. And then when that is done, at the end of the video, I will go over the breathing method step by step, what exactly it is and how to execute. Let's have a look.
There's one technique that I started when I was 5 years old that I've spent the last 4 decades learning how to do better and better.
And that technique we're going to discuss today.
The technique that I've learned for holding my breath during Drowned Alive was essential and even allowed me to break a world record.
This world record was done on pure oxygen. So you have to know that this image of him in this aquarium, he's holding his breath after inhaling for quite some time pure oxygen. This is not what we're going to discuss today. So obviously you cannot hold your breath for 17 minutes just breathing in normal air.
By learning to control my breathing and slow my heart rate. One of the possible threats on my next stunt is a potentially fatal condition called hypoxia.
So fatal condition called hypoxia. Well, hypoxia is not a fatal condition. Drowning is. So if you are hypoxic, but you're just laying on your bed, not in the water, then and you black out, then you will just wake up again. So that is not fatal. But if you do this in the water, and this is already a first big disclaimer of this method, never do this in the water. If you black out in the water, then it becomes a fatal condition. It's not hypoxia, it's a drowning.
Hypoxia is when you don't get enough oxygen because you go too high and you're not in a pressurized cabin like an airplane.
When you go too high, he's talking about an airplane. We will see that footage in a minute.
So you're breathing the air that has less oxygen.
Because the higher you go, the less oxygen in the air.
You become hypoxic, you have no idea what you're doing. So you're completely foggy. It's like you're drunk. But the breathing technique can actually help me override hypoxia by keeping my blood oxygen levels saturated and high.
So the breathing technique will help him override the hypoxia. I already know where this is going to. I have a hunch. So in all honesty, I don't know what this breathing technique is. I still have to see this at the end of this video. But I know it's going to be based on one principle.
We did the first reading at takeoff at just 200 feet. I was 98% O2 and David was 97.
98%, 97, that is within normal range. So we have a normal range between 95 and 99% of oxygen saturation. So this is totally normal.
As we ascended to higher altitudes, Luke's oxygen levels began to drop.
91, so it's getting lower.
By using the same breathing techniques that I've learned, I was able to keep my blood oxygen levels normal, more than 3 miles above sea level.
Okay, so I'm just going to say the word, because I don't know how to continue this video without mentioning it. So what is the word? It's hyperventilation, of course. Now, there are many levels or ways to execute hyperventilation. So I'm pretty damn sure that his breathing technique is just a variation on a hyperventilation routine. So in previous videos, I've said that hyperventilation does not increase your oxygen levels. And that is true because we already have oxygen levels of 95 to 99%. So when I say this, I assume that we are healthy human beings with healthy lungs and that we have already a maximum oxygen saturation. And I'm not thinking about going up in an airplane, of course. So in circumstances that are not normal, like going up in an airplane and going at higher altitudes, then indeed you can increase your oxygen saturation by hyperventilation. Because what is hyperventilation? It is breathing more than normal. It is breathing more than you need. So when you breathe more, you get in more oxygen, of course. So if your oxygen levels are low, then yes, you can higher them momentarily until 95 to 99%, but nothing higher than your maximum values, of course.
We're at
18,000 feet, and he is at 95%, still within a normal range. So at some point, the oxygen levels are gonna drop, of course, because You cannot keep on hyperventilating. I mean, you can't do that the whole time. It's pretty normal that at a certain moment, oxygen levels start to drop. Breathing pure O2 to recover is the only way to get your oxygen saturations back up again. So this is what he has done before his world records to 17 minutes.
I'll need to improve my technique to prevent hypoxia.
So what he's saying, I mean, he's a showman. I'm not sure if he can improve his technique, because hyperventilation is hyperventilation. You know, you can do it in a mild way. You can do it in a more extreme way. Yeah, you can experiment with the way you hyperventilate, but this idea of I have to improve my breathing methods to override the hypoxia, I don't believe in it.
When I'm shooting my specials, people always ask me if what I'm doing is real or is it magic?
That's a good question. Is it real or is it magic? Because he is a magician, and after all, his goal is magic, of course. It is not to prove anything scientifically. It is not to set certain records, although he did. The real question here is it real or is it magic? Well, it is real. This breathing method is real, and it makes people hold their breath longer. But I have to go into that deeper, because you will see, when you keep on watching this video, don't go away, that it's not all sunshine. There are certain dangers that go with this method, and you cannot keep on holding your breath longer with this method. So yes, it works, it is real, but at the same time, it also doesn't work, and you have to understand why.
One of the things I often demonstrate to answer them is teaching them how to hold their breath longer than they realize is possible. Some of them even find it relevant to what they do.
Winter's like right around the corner, and learning how to breathe properly.
Some of them find it relevant to what they do. So this guy is a surfer. Please do not find this method relevant to what you do, because you cannot use this in the water. If you black out and no one saves you, you're dead. And how are you going to hyperventilate when you're on a surfboard? I mean, come on, you're riding the waves. You're not going to think about breathing up. You're not going to think about, oh, I'm going to do a couple of minutes hyperventilation now in case I would fall off my board and get into the waves. That simply won't happen. So I don't see how you can use this method for a surfer. And I would highly advise you not to use it if you are a surfer.
I know it's going to benefit me surfing.
No, it will not. Sorry.
Even if I can get to like 2 minutes.
Okay, so it can benefit you in surfing, but in a different way, in a way that you probably don't think of. And it's called confidence. So confidence is super important. So if you know that you can hold your breath for, let's say, 3, 4, or maybe even 5 minutes, whereas before you could only hold your breath for 1 minute, then that's a huge confidence booster. If you can bring that confidence to the water, then yes, it will help you the next time you fall into the waves. But that has got nothing to do with the breathing method itself.
Most people don't realize that they can hold their breath for longer than a minute. And I've taught many people over the years how to hold their breath for 3 to 4 minutes.
Exactly. So this is what we do in freediving courses as well. Most people that have never practiced breath holding, they have no idea how long they can hold their breath. They think, oh, maybe 40 seconds, maybe 1 minute, but eventually they reach 3 minutes or even more.
So now I'm going to explain the process to you. You're going to take a deep breath in, then we're going to hold for a second, and then we're going to exhale for about 10 seconds. It's going to flush the CO2 out of your bloodstream.
So here he says it. So he doesn't use the word hyperventilation, but this is the exact definition of hyperventilation. Flushing out the CO2 by taking deep breaths and then basically just bigger breaths. That is hyperventilation. Deep and fast, rapid breathing is hyperventilation. So when you're flushing out the CO2, you do not feel that natural alarm clock anymore. CO2 is the gas that tells you, hey, you gotta start thinking about breathing again. It actually prevents you from blacking out, from losing consciousness. So when you flush out the CO2 on hyperventilation, you are losing the natural alarm clock, and a blackout may come, bang, like this, unexpectedly.
You will get numb feelings in your lips. You might get tingling in your fingers.
Okay, numb feeling in your lips, tingling in your fingers. That is not because of more oxygen in your body. No, that is because of vasoconstriction. Vasoconstriction means the narrowing of the blood vessels in the extremities of your body. And that is why you have this tingling feeling.
And imagine you're blowing a toy boat over the surface of a pool, and don't do it to the point that you're blacking out, but push it enough.
So he knows his method is prone to blacking out. So he's already warning his students, don't do it too much that you will black out. So they have to be careful to balance on this thin line between just not blacking out and blacking out. You have to ask yourself already the question, I mean, if you cannot use this method in the water because it's just simply too dangerous for blacking out, if you can only use it on dry breath holding, then what's actually the purpose of this? Why would you even use it? Is it just to prove for yourself or for the other people that you can hold your breath for a certain amount of time? Or do you actually want to do something with this method? Do you want to use this method for diving or surfing? If the answer is yes, then this method is not for you.
And then a huge breath in and hold.
So what we see here is pretty intense hyperventilation. So in freediving, we don't hyperventilate, but there's always an exception to the rules for static breath holding. So not when we're diving and not when we're swimming underwater in the pool. Freedivers sometimes use mild hyperventilation, not extreme hyperventilation like this, but mild hyperventilation. It is a controlled inhalation and a controlled exhalation. It is very light hyperventilation, and this can actually delay the urge to breathe in a safe way without a big danger for blacking out. And it has helped freedivers in holding their breath longer. You don't have to do this, but it's one of the methods that you can try only for static breath holding. Do never use this in the water.
You purge so hard that you blacked yourself out.
So this guy has blacked out.
Jim. Purging, we're overdoing it. It's so easy to black out on that. Huge breath in. You go under when you're ready. Give me a signal if you're okay. Give me a signal if you're okay.
So we do this in freediving as well. So you have to give a signal just to show that you're still conscious, because if your coach asks you for the signal and you do not give it, he will ask you the second time. And if you do not respond, then he will grab you and pull you out of the water. Or if you're doing a dry breath hold, he will perform a rescue procedure on you, because it means you have blacked out.
You did 445.
Wow.
Jesus, dude.
445 is no joke.
445 is indeed no joke. It's a super breath hold for a starter. All right, guys, I had promised you I would go through this breathing method step by step on how to execute it. It was quite difficult to find information about this, but luckily I stumbled upon a blog from Tim Ferriss, who dissects this breathing method. The deep breathing involves taking a big breath in through the mouth, holding for 1 second, and then exhaling for 10 seconds through your mouth, through your almost closed mouth with tongue pressed against your lower teeth. It should be a hissing exhalation and make a sound. All breathing and exercises are performed through the mouth. So this would look something like a big breath in and then 10 seconds out. Purging involves a strong exhalation, as if you were trying to blow a toy sailboat across a pool, followed by a big but faster inhalation. David's cheeks were puffed out as he demonstrated the exhalation. Imagine the big bad wolf blowing the pig's home down. Be careful not to heave or rock back and forth, which wastes oxygen. Keep as still as possible. So something like this. That is purging. And then semi-purging, breathing between the above two, more forceful than deep breathing, but less forceful than full purging, used for recovering after each time trial. So this is actually just a recovery breath as we do it in freediving. So, okay, how does this breathing method looks like? You start with 1 minute 30 deep breathing, then 1:15 purging. If you feel like you're going to pass out, do it less intensely. And then hold your breath for target 130, no more. So that is the first breath hold to 130, first warm up. Then, when you're done, take 3 semi-purged breaths, which is the recovery. And then you start again, 130 deep breathing, 130 purging. Hold your breath, target 230 this time. After 230, you take 3 semi-purged breaths. And then you are done with your second warm-up. Then you're going to start your third and final breath hold, which is the maximum breath hold. 2 minutes deep breathing, 1 minute 45 purging. Hold your breath for as long as possible. After exhalation, take 3 to 10 semi-hard purged breaths until you recover. If you want to know more about hyperventilation and the dangers that go with it, then please watch this video here. And that is it, guys. Peace in every breath.